Welcome back to another episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we plunge into the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest takes in the sports industry. All right, so guys, I'm clearly not just by myself. I'm joined by my first in-studio athlete. Who am I joined by?
I'm Caden Hardy, senior year swimmer with Marist University.
All right, Caden. So Caden and I have known each other for a little bit, but I'll start here with some questions. When did you fall in love with swimming, and was there a moment, like a specific moment that you remember where you're like, this is the moment where I fell in love?
I remember progressing from little kid swim lessons from ages 4 years old up until they told me I couldn't anymore. I've reached the age limit. And I remember joining my first swim team at like the local Y, and one of the at the time the coaches, one of the bigger age coaches told me to move up an age group. And my mom told me that later when I got home from practice, and she was like, "Hey, like this person told me this. Like, we think you could really be a good athlete." And I think that was the jump start to my swimming career, and why I really enjoyed swimming in that kind of whole environment. I started to really enjoy.
Yeah, totally. Who was your biggest inspiration? Now, I kind of have a next question that's kind of another inspiration ish question, but who would you say your biggest is, and when you kind of have times, because I've talked with a few D1 athletes, and they've always been like, there are definitely times where you don't want to go work and do this. So what kind of keeps you going?
I think every athlete in general has an internal drive. They're always motivated by some sort of goal, time, events, some sort of thing they want to strive for. I'm always concerned about, what's the next record I could get, what's the next like championship I can win, what's like, as a team we want to win another MAC championship, we want to put another ring on my finger, which is always fun. So I would say what keeps me going is just the progression that the sport holds. And I think there's no roof in swimming. Like, there's records broken every other day and every other year, so I think there's always room to improve, and that's what kind of excites me.
Totally. So I had told you my next question was going to be about coach. What coach would you say has had the biggest impact on your life?
So my club coach, my first real club coach, named Kevin Auger, and my high school coach. He was my club coach and my high school coach growing up. I have swum with him ever since I was 8 or 9 years old, and he was an Olympian during the 1980 Olympics. Unfortunately, he swam for Canada, and that year, Canada, United States, and Russia were all boycotted due to some sort of event going on. So he didn't actually swim at the Olympics, but looking at him and all the wisdom has told me throughout the sport and all those meets he's been to really resonated with me, and was something that I wanted to strive for myself. And like, oh, I want to be on that level. I want to go to a national team. I want to go to junior nationals. I want to go to the Olympics someday. And so he was kind of that like father figure mentor I had growing up.
Totally. That's a great role model to look up. I've also had some conversations with Kevin as well. He's a great coach, even though sometimes he doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, at times he hits after you.
Yeah, but it's all because he just wants you to do great. So you're the first person that I've had in studio, and a lot of that is because you live around the Chicago area. Growing up in the Chicago area and going to Evanston, what made you want to commit to Marist, which is basically on the other side of the country? What made you want to go to all the way to New York? Right, they're in New York.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep. So I would say, like, throughout every athlete's recruiting process, there's schools that you reach out to, or they reach out to you. And I had schools ranging from all the way out in California. I had a school in Canada reach out to me. I had schools in Florida, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, even some schools in Illinois reach out to me, which, staying in state would have been nice. But I wanted to experience the East Coast more, and Marist had a brand new coach that was coming in, a fresh start, the training philosophy, which I really enjoyed, and the pool was very nice, and the athletic facility in general, McCann Center, was just one of the best athletic buildings I've ever been into. They're ranging from every single colleges that I've been on. They've reigned supreme. And the location that Marist was in, like right on the Hudson River, like you're not far from New York City, you're not far from upstate New York. Like, you are in the middle of New York, and you can go to Connecticut. It takes you 30 minutes to go to Connecticut, or it takes you 30 minutes to go to New Jersey. Like, you can go all over, and it was just a great place. When I visited out, I think it was October of 2022, I took my visit, and or October 2021, and I had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, and now you talked about how it was a fresh start. Now you guys are MAC champions, so you guys have definitely started something. What was the transition like? Because for some guys, some sports like football, you'll get recruited, and then you'll go to the college that you choose, and you won't play for 3 years. But for swimming, you're usually in it right away. So what was that transition like from high school to like the future, the events, the national events to college? What was that transition like for you?
So I would say everyone asked me this question, like ranging from my family members, they've asked me this question. I think college is way more competitive than high school and club sports can ever be. Because every single college athlete's either on a scholarship or they're walking on or they're doing whatever, and they're competing for something. Like I want a roster spot, or I want to win a championship, or I want something. They're always competing for a place. And I would say in college, dual meets are very intense. Like points matter. Every point matters. Like if you can get your hand on the wall, if you get fifth place instead of sixth place, like that's 1 point towards your team. The relays get very fired up. Like I'm fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of relays from my school, and being a part of those relays is nerve wracking to say the least. Like my freshman year, I definitely was introduced to the big boy pond, and I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of scary. There's some big boys out there." But once you dip your feet in there, I feel like you understand it more, and you understand the competitiveness and the drive. High school, it was competitive. The North Shore of swimming is very competitive. Evanston Township, New Trier, they always go at it. But I would say college is night and day compared to high school.
Yeah, I mean, just in the few like just college events that I've been at, for any sport, just the intensity is you can't describe it. And then when you're watching some of the games as well, like you just realize how much more intense it is. So you opened the 2024-2025 season last season with strong finishes in the 50 breast and 100 breast. What is your preparation or mindset that has helped you perform so well?
I would say like during preseason and during postseason, my biggest concern is just staying in shape. My biggest concern is just staying in the water, lifting, eating healthy, all that good stuff. And just being excited. Like I think excitement can lead to great things. Like you're not looking forward to your season, you're not looking forward to, all those goals you have in mind, and it's not going to be a good season for you. I would say my goals excite me more. Like I have a goal in mind this year. Like, I have a couple goals I want to do for the team, and I have a couple goals for myself. And that internal mindset, I think, is what helped me propel this past season.
In the season, you also your record in the 200 breast was broken by a teammate. How did that motivate you moving forward for the rest of the year?
So it's funny. Me and this guy we've been trading this record off for. I mean, specifically last year for I think 3 or 4 times. So he broke it my sophomore year. He was a freshman. Then we went to a meet last November. He broke it again. I broke it at finals, and then going into the final meet of the season, I broke it at finals, and then he broke it the heat after me.
Jeez.
So he broke it. I mean, we were trading this record off back and forth. So yeah, there's a little bit of I wouldn't say rivalry because we're teammates at the end of the day, but there's a little motivation at practice. I get after him, he gets after me. That was always a good time, and there's always some rough and tumble at the end of the day. Words were exchanged, and it's all part of the day, part of the life of being a swimmer.
Yeah, and I think that's good to have too. Is like
yeah,
someone to push you, and like you said earlier, with being a college athlete, like people are there because they want to work it. Like they're there for a reason. They want to keep on working for like a roster spot.
Yep.
So if you have someone to kind of push you and motivate you, that makes you not comfortable. Like if you're comfortable, you shouldn't be. You need to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. There's times where he would put up a time in practice, and that would motivate me. Be like, oh, I gotta
exactly
get all my stuff. I gotta eat a little healthier. I gotta sleep better. I gotta recover more. I have to go to the trainer more if my back hurts or my shoulders. Those little things can pay dividends at the end of the season. So.
Totally. So you're also a college athlete. You also are in school. So what does a typical training week look like for you?
So if we're in the heart of season, so for months from October to January, that's our big training block. I mean, we will rest throughout those months for certain meets, and but for the most part, we are in full grind mode. So for a day by day, we have roughly, depending on what group you're in, if you're more distance, if you're more sprint, you'll have different training blocks. But for me, I'm more on the middle distance, the sprint side of things. So I will have 2 morning practices a week. Tuesday morning is the breaststroke group, and then Tuesday afternoon is our big aerobic day. Wednesday is mostly recovery. Thursday is another morning I'll have just a general morning practice, like nothing too crazy. Thursday afternoon is our big off the block sprint day. Friday is when we'll lift in the morning to get us trained for, training like swimming in the morning. It gets us muscles fired up. And then Friday afternoon, if we don't have a meet that day, we'll most likely just get in and flush out. And then Monday morning is a really early practice for me. I'll swim from 5:30 in the morning to 7:30 in the morning, and from that I won't touch the water again. I'll maybe lift that day. After that, it's purely just academics after that.
Okay, totally. Yeah, so my next question kind of is around that too, is how do you balance the academics at Marist while being able to be an elite athlete? Because like there are some guys who can't balance both. There are some guys who can be a great athlete, like Derrick Rose with Memphis. It came out after he got, or was after the season at Memphis, is a lot of the classwork he wasn't doing it. So there are some athletes who are great at athletes and not great in the school department. So how are you able to kind of maintain both?
I mean, the word student athlete, student comes first, athlete second. So, our coach, specifically at our school, expects us to maintain a high GPA. If you don't, you're packing your stuff and you're leaving. So, or if you don't maintain a certain GPA, you won't go on certain trips, or you won't go on certain meets, which is unfortunate. So, it gives you, it's an incentive to be like, hey, like do your schoolwork first. There is a balance. Our school has plenty of accommodations for those athletes. We have a full athletic room upstairs to just sit down, plug yourself away, and get your work done. Like I've been in that room for about 5-6 hours a day and just doing all my homework. There's teachers that will accommodate you. There's counseling that's there for you, and there's so many resources you have. If you need help on your essay, there's the writing center in our school in the library that has so many. The athletes are very helped out, which is great because if I have a midterm, which unfortunately for some of our meets we're out of town for our midterm, so we can't go to a lot of our midterms. So what we'll do is we'll go to all those enhancement centers and we'll get the help before we have to leave for our meet.
Yeah, that's definitely something that is great, especially because some athletes are not gifted in the sense of after college, even though college is a great accomplishment in itself, being an athlete in college, some athletes, especially in the sport that you're in, swimming, it's so hard to be a full-time professional swimmer because of you don't get paid a lot of money unless you're like a Michael Phelps or you're someone who's one of those elite swimmers. So that's just, you have to come to the realization where like, I may be great at this, but it's so hard to be so successful in this sport. So going into your senior year, what are some goals that you have for yourself? And then the question after that will be, what are your goals as a team, would you say?
So for myself, there's a couple events I would like to put my name on the board for. I'm already on the board for 2 relays. I would like to break both those relays with my teammates. It would be great. The 100 breast record is our oldest men's record we have on the board. It's been up there since 2009. So I'd like to scratch that off, put my name up there. And I would like to put my name out there in the 200 again. Me and my teammate will battle that out towards the end of the year. So that'd be an exciting thing to look out for. As a team, we have a real good shot of winning the MACA championship again. We won my sophomore year. This past year, we unfortunately lost to Niagara University. So this year, we have a really good shot of, getting another ring on my finger, which would be nice. I'd like to have 2 rings, 2 rings on my fingers. So yeah. As a team, I would like to get another year on that banner.
Yeah, totally. That's what I think. Also, the thing about like mid majors in swimming is, you and I were just talking about this before we got here today. small schools always have great swimmers. Like Townsend, we were talking about that
Yeah,
swimmer
Brian
from.
Benzing Towson, he was a great athlete.
Mhm.
He shattered that record board. He was a phenomenal athlete. I had the pleasure of swimming against him for my freshman and sophomore year, and he took his fifth year. He went to IU his fifth year because he had that fifth year eligibility, and he lit it up. He made a couple A finals, and he had fun at
Exactly.
IU.
And that's what I think is so great about like these sports like swimming is you can see all of these great athletes at smaller schools because swimming, yeah, it's technically a team sport, but in the end of the day, it's really a personal sport. So every school can have a great one great dude, and I feel like that's what makes it so interesting is when you have someone like that who can be an NCAA record holder and stuff like that at a smaller school like a Townsend or like a Marist, where you guys are all just it's a very competitive field. I think is something that is what makes college sports so great. My next question is kind of more about the conference that you're in. What would you say is the MAC in the sense of the conference in swim speed and stuff? Because in all these other sports, it's the Power Four conferences, and then there's like those mid-major conferences that you're always looking out for, especially when it comes to basketball. Those
Right.
mid-major teams that are you're always looking out for. So, what would you say is how the MAC swim competition is compared to some of these Power Four schools? As you know, a MAC is a smaller conference that doesn't get as much viewership as a Big Ten does.
So, I mean, night and day between our conference and the Big Ten. The Big
Mm-hmm.
Ten is, I mean, those are Olympians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, those are borderline Olympic athletes. The MAC does have some Olympians for smaller countries that competing. Um, but the MAC has gotten faster. I mean, there's been some times thrown down. Like there was a guy who went, I think it was a 46 for a 100-yard backstroke, that would compete in the
Yeah.
national level. Like he swam for Iona
Mm-hmm.
and he threw down. My teammate who just graduated this year, James Conable. I mean, he threw down a ridiculous string of events at this past championship. He went this MAC record in the 2IM, went 146.5, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And he won the mile. He won the 4IM. I mean, he had a great meet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of our best athletes when I was there. Like, me and him would always battle it out at IM practices, and he's made me a lot better. Like I went under 150 for the first time this year in the 2IM, which was a great accomplishment for me, and he was excited for me. And so unfortunately he graduated, but fortunate for me, he passed that IM torch
Yeah,
to me,
totally.
so I get to hold that on my name. And but no, the MAC is very fast, and the 100 breasts, which is one of my events, it's one of the fastest events in that conference, and there's guys going like 53s and 52s in the relay. Like those are some times that will
Mhm.
compete on the national level.
Exactly.
So it's like relative to the Big Ten and the ACC, slower,
Mm-hmm.
but relative to other big or to
Like
mid-major
mid-majors.
schools, we're up there.
Okay, yeah, totally. And this one we talked a little bit about recruiting before earlier today. But if you could go back to your senior year in high school, what advice would you give yourself before joining college swim? And this could be also like, along with just college swimming, the whole recruiting process. Like, what advice would you give yourself?
I would say be patient, be gentle with yourself. There's a lot of things being thrown at you for the first time. There's money involved. There's numbers thrown at you. There's, those people, those recruiters are trying to persuade you to go to their school, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But I would say take the time, take the school year to think about it. Don't jump into it. Like I know I have some teammates that jumped in right away and they did not like where they were at and they transferred out. Fortunate for me, I loved my decision. I mean, there's been doubts throughout my freshman year when I wasn't doing very well in the swim world, and I was like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should quit swimming. But be patient, be gentle with yourself. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination, which I recently just learned about from my coach, and I hold that advice very dear to me. But no, for the recruitment process, there's a lot of things being thrown at you for the first time. There's a lot of people you meet. There's a lot of places you'll go. Like I would say, write a list down of the pros and cons for each place you go to, and compare them. Like, oh, the West Coast is really hot. That's great for outdoor swimming, but it's not fun for moving into a college house if if no AC, or
Mm-hmm.
the East Coast. Oh, it's really pretty in the fall, but it gets really cold.
Yeah.
Or you're far from home, like my case. I'm really far. I'm 700 miles away from home, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the access of like my mom coming out
Yeah.
for parents' weekend and all that stuff. So, balance the pros and cons. Balance out what schools provide for you. If they don't have the academics you'd want, then obviously don't go there. Like there was a school out in California that was like, oh, we don't have the psychology major you would like, or we don't hold a certain amount of classes you have. So, I decided not to go there, and Marist was a great fit. So
Yeah.
I would just say be patient.
Totally. And I think it's one thing for some people that say be patient and they're not, but you graduated in 2022 from high school. You committed verbally committed in the February 22nd,
December
2022, right?
I committed December of 2021, which is kind of in the middle ground of committing. A lot of athletes commit their junior year. There's a lot of athletes commit May of their senior year when they graduate. I was kind of in the middle ground. I was the summer between my junior and senior year. I was looking all over for recruiting. I was reaching out to all these coaches, and Marist was one of the schools that I jumped on right away, and they got back to me fairly quickly. Throughout the school year, we were talking, and around late November, early December, we kind of were talking numbers, and we were like, hey, we think you're a really good fit for our school. And I'm like, hey, I think your school is a great fit for me. Let's sit down and have a conversation. And by, I think it was December 15th when I made I wrote the contract down, and I posted the picture saying, I will be continuing my academics and athletics to Marist University.
What was that moment like for you as someone who, obviously, you're not doing this if you don't love it,
right?
And was your dream. So what was that moment like when you're typing up on Instagram, I would assume, typing up that moment where you're like, I'm committing to Marist University to continue my academic and athletic career?
It sounds very cliche, but it was very surreal. I remember I was sitting in my car after practice, which was very ironic, and I called my mom. I called my coach. We solidified things. We were like, hey, you're coming here. We'll send you your contract. We'll send you all the paperwork you need. Post whatever you want. Like, you're coming. And I was like, great, sounds great. I hung up the phone, called my mom, who was my number one support system at the time. And I was like, Mom, I just did it. We're going to Marist. We're going to New York. And she was, very happy, very excited. And I remember my friend at the time, well, we're still friends today, and he had this big camera. He's like, come to school the next day. I'll take your picture in front of the pool for my Instagram post. And I remember like sitting there in the Marist University swim and dive t-shirt with my hands behind my back, like posing. And I remember like all those hard practices, like puking in a garbage can, like, getting my butt kicked every day, practice from these older kids, and like going to swim meets and getting dead last to like, now I'm finally here, like swimming at Division I program, which was a very, surreal moment, which I'll probably never forget.
Yeah, that's something that I think most of the athletes, when that's your goal and you're able to accomplish it, that's something that you hold dearly. This is one of my last questions. What do you think swimming needs to do to grow? Obviously, the Olympics, it's a big sport when it's at the Olympics, but when it's just like a day like this, there's not, unless you're involved with the sport like how you and I are kind of both involved and understand the sport, you're not going to go out of your way to watch swimming. So what do you think swimming needs to do? The NCAA, whatever, what do you think needs to happen to kind of help swim grow?
I think, obviously, like you said, the Olympic year is a very big deal. Like most everyday people only watch swimming every 4 years. I think there has, like this podcast you're recording right now is a great way to extend the sport. I don't know if many people know who Kyle Sockwell is. He's doing something very similar to what you're doing. I think more media growth is phenomenal for our sport. I think more attendance at swim meet, like college dual meets instead of the championship meets, are great. Obviously, I don't know if you know, but the Army Navy meet is a very exciting meet to go to, which is like the Army Navy football game.
Yeah,
it's very exciting, very intense. Just I think more media attraction is great. Like World Championships in swimming just ended, like I think 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So there's other high caliber meets that you could watch, like men's and women's NCAA championships swimming happen every year in March. The Olympics obviously happens every 4 years. Olympic trials, world championships, short course world championships. There's other there's U.S. nationals are going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at my phone. Some times were thrown down that would have gotten second or first at world championships for some of the men's events. I mean, there is some very high caliber meets going on. Like I just got off a meet myself. And there's I think more media is just needed for a sport like this.
Yeah, because once you watch it, I mean, I remember watching state last year or 2 years ago, my senior year, and there was this one dude, Brady Johnson, who was committed at ASU, and just the way that how easily he made it look, and he was going 19s is just insane to me. And I think that's what makes it so appealing for the people who watch at the Olympics is one, how easily those guys make and girls make that water move, and my favorite part, I don't know about you, besides the relays, is the underwaters and seeing not only how far, but like how much you can see how much they train when they do it. And I think that's something that makes the swimming so cool to watch. Is just it's such a unique thing to be able to do. Like you can swim. Like a lot of people know how to swim, but to be an elite swimmer is something that not many people have. So I got a few like shorter questions. If you had to pick a race distance to like swim for the rest of your life, what is that race distance going to be, and what stroke will it be?
I mean, I would love to be one of those guys that like is a big burly 50 freestyler, like splash and dash, like fast twitch muscles. But I'm fortunate enough to swim the 50 breast at some certain meets, so that's an event I love to swim. It's not as tiring as like 100 or 200, but it requires a lot of talent, a lot of strength, a lot of fast twitch muscles. So I would, if I had to pick, I would pick the 50 breast because I already swim it, but it's just very exciting. It comes down to the literal. It comes down to the wire.
Exactly.
It's very fun.
And then what's your go-to like a lot of like go-to sort of hype up song that like before a big meet or like any meet, because most of the meets in college you're suiting up, which if you guys don't know what that means, you're wearing a basically non-drag suit.
Yeah.
What is that kind of the song that like helps you lock in and stay focused? The song that you take, but while you're walking around the pool deck, then right before you jump in, you take your headphones off. What is that go-to song for you?
So if I had to, throughout this course of a swim meet, I'll start off the day very slow. I'll play some Chet Baker. I'll play some jazz. I like to kind of keep it loose. I don't like to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and listen to something very heavy and loud. So I'll eat breakfast, listen to some jazz. I'll drive through, get some coffee, get my energy drink, get ready to go. Warm up, I would say get some a little louder, maybe some Black Sabbath, some Ozzy Osbourne, something a little higher in tune. But in warm up for the swim meet, I would say I'd probably turn on some Chief Keef, King Von, anything like that. Right before I have to dive in, probably have to say the same, like King Von, maybe Chief Keef, something like just very in your ears, like angry, loud music. I know some teammates of mine listen to like Bob Marley and like some reggae. I'm like, I can't, it's just different temperament. Like I have a very angry temperament when I swim. After the race, I'll congratulate. I'll be very nice and cordial, but it's like the old saying goes, it's like, we can be friends after the race. When the race, I'm not your buddy. Like stuff like that. So if I had to pick one artist to listen to, it'd probably be Chief Keef. My teammates at school are gonna think this is funny because I that's all they think of me, but it's very funny.
I mean, that's what I was always like. Obviously, I wasn't as elite of a swimmer as you were, but I could never get behind like the people who would listen to laid back, chilled music. I just think like before you're going into like battle, you shouldn't be blasting chill music. You should be listening to music that fires you up. What is your favorite? This is your last go around for college. So going into your senior year, before your senior year, what would you say your favorite memory of Marist, or just in general, your favorite swim memory of all time?
My favorite swim memory of all time, if at Marist, I would say, I got to shout out my ex-teammate James Conable. I remember it was the last day of the last swim meet, the last session of the year we won Max, and I thought it was coming down to the wire. I was like, oh no, like us and Niagara are it's gonna come down to the last event. And our milers, our distance swimmers went 1 through 5, which is a crazy stat. I just found out that it's never happened in an NCAA swimming ever. Like no one's ever swept an event. Like all of our milers went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think insane. I don't know how many points it was. It was around like 60 points added to our tally. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, oh my god, like that was a huge jump towards whatever. And James was like losing his mind because he was one of those athletes that placed in 1 through 5. I think he was 4th. And I remember him getting out of the pool very excited. I'm like, oh my god, like I gave him a hug or whatever, and he was like, yeah, that was the end of the meet. Like we can just pack ourselves and go home. Like they're not gonna touch us after that. Like we pretty much just might as well put the ring in our finger now. We just won. Yeah. So that I have to say that was my favorite Marist swimming memory I've ever had. My favorite swimming memory of all time. Ooh, geez. I would say breaking my first record at Marist. So I broke a relay record my freshman year. Was very fun. So I was a freshman. I remember going into the race, and an ex-coach of mine named Ethan Fergus came up to me and was, I was the runt of the pack. We had these 5th years with the seniors next to me. Like they've been there. Dude, yeah. They've been there before, and I was just a little breaststroker coming in, like barely 6 foot, like 160 pounds, and these guys are like 6 foot, 7, like crazy tall. And I remember him turning to me and going, "Don't up." Or don't mess this up. And I was like, oh no. And I remember like
that's gonna mess
on
with
the
you,
block, I'm just like shaking, and I'm like, oh my god. And
because that's probably the loudest meet that you're at too of the year.
Meet. Like there's nothing that compares to like, it's almost like a blur. Like you don't really hear anything except for like, I remember my teammate behind me yell go, and I just remember just going and diving in.
What is that? Because obviously I never swam at state or anything. So what was that? What's that moment like when you jump in the water and like? I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. But what is that moment like jumping in the water, hearing just the screaming go silent, basically?
It's a very... People think it's scary. I think it's calming. It's like you don't hear much. It's like I was swimming a 50 at that time when I was told not to mess up. So I was going down and back, and I was like, there's no room for error. Mm-hmm. Like I have to mess. I cannot mess up. Yeah. I remember going my fastest relay split at that time, which was a 25-45, I think it was, my freshman year, and we were competing for a top 3 medal, and I was like just happy to be there, and I was like, oh my god, like this is great, like I'm my first ever final. I'm a freshman, and it's just a surreal moment. And I remember one of our teammates was like closing the guys down. We're like, oh my god, like we were gonna win. Unfortunately, he ran out of room. He got second, and we broke that record, and that record still stands today.
Yeah,
and, so getting that first silver medal around my neck, and I remember just sitting there like holding it. I'm like, wow, this thing's really shiny. And it's really fun, and it was heavy. I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
Because the state in Illinois, you just get like a little. Do you get a medal for?
For state you get a medal. I think they changed the medal. It used to be red, white, and blue, and now it's navy blue and white.
Okay.
To match the Illinois swimming logo.
Okay.
But yeah, so like the medal I got was like my first real big boy medal. And I'm like, whoa, it's a silver medal. Like I'll be happy with a bronze or like whatever. But silver medal, I'm like, this is cool. Like I would have loved for it to be gold.
But then you ended up getting a ring. So
yeah, my very next year I remember getting a gold ring. It has my name on it, and somewhere I have. I don't know where it's at, but it's a nice ring. I'll wear that on when I graduate or when I get married. That'll be on my finger.
So this is my last question. If there's any piece of advice that you want a potential swimmer or person who's thinking of swimming, what would you give to them right now?
Any piece of advice, I would say, again, going back to the recruiting thing, I'd be gentle on yourself. Like, there's gonna be ups and downs. There's gonna be times you fail. There's gonna be times where you don't get the time or the place you want, and that's fine. It's sure you had a goal. Sure you really trained really hard for. You sacrificed a lot of things. Like, you could be going out having fun with your buddies, or you could be dating this girl, or you could be chilling at home instead of waking up at 5:30 in the morning. And there's sacrifices to be made, and if you don't get the goal you want, it's about the friendship and the brotherhood you had. And like, I mean, we're all like, one of our teammates always would say, it's like, we're dying in practice together, so you might as well have a good attitude about it instead
Yeah.
of beat each other down, basically.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's like, I would say the three biggest things is be gentle, be patient, and have fun.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a sport and you're getting paid to do a sport.
Exactly.
Like, why would you not want to have fun?
Exactly.
So,
Which, if you told a little kid that you're going to be who's literally just playing the sport because they love it, that you could potentially be playing the sport and get paid when you're older,
Yeah.
they would think that that's gold.
yeah.
But Caden, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Hopefully this season goes as good as you plan. I'll be definitely rooting for you. Guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and so you can never miss another episode. And we'll see you on the next one.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.